honest, being a teacher is a struggle, right? The struggle is real, and we want you to physically speak out loud and shout out what you think the biggest struggles or demands are being put on you or teachers today. Paperwork. Class size. Oh, I wish we had a technical one. Go ahead. Grading.
Testing.
Great. Okay, those are all great. And so we talked before this session, and if we had to pick 3 main areas that we wanted to meaningfully integrate tech to help teachers with, this is where we're going to focus with today. So if you know people that are struggling with engagement, organization, or assessments, we gathered up some of our absolute favorite tools. Maybe it's a program, maybe it's a website, extension, or an app that can help. So we have 3 phases of our presentation today. We are going to talk briefly about each tool, and then at the end of each kind of group, we'll give you some time to reflect and maybe click on some of the links and look deeper into some of those things.
Okay, so the first section is the struggle is engagement. That was an awesome worksheet. Said no student ever. So when looking at engagement, the definition that we found is the act of participation, involvement, taking part, and sharing. Teacher definition of engagement. How can I get my students to care about this? How can I get them engaged in what they are doing?
So how we're going to structure today's session is that we are going to pair 2 tools kind of up against each other that serve a similar purpose, and explain just a little bit about what they do, because I think most importantly in the ed tech world, there's so many things out there and it's hard to navigate. So our idea for today's session is to give you tools that are similar, and then maybe you choose one that you would want to move forward with. And we're starting with engagement with one of our all-time favorites, Goose Chase versus Breakout EDU Digital. So Goose Chase is a scavenger hunt for the masses, and you as a teacher or instructional leader create missions to engage teachers or students in whatever material that you want. They can be physically moving around the building. You can have Goose Chases happen right in your classroom, and your students can either work on teams or individually depending on which type of account you have. If you have never gone to Goose Chase or made an account, my advice is to make sure when you register you're on Goose Chase EDU, because you get 5 teams. If you just do regular Goose Chase, you only get up to 3. So in our presentation, we've hyperlinked all of the websites or areas where you can get to these things, and you can click on them as we're going, or you can wait until the end. It's totally up to you. But we love Goose Chase because it's one of those apps that gets your kids physically up and moving around and engaging in their material in a different way.
And she, at the elementary school, uses Goose Chase. I use it with 12th grade English. I used it with them. AP Biology, we did a Goose Chase. And once they get over the name, the high school students, they giggle a little bit, and then they're like, this is dumb, and I tell them, leave your cool card here, and we're going to have some fun. And they did. It's awesome. We could do it. You could do it on any device, iPads, phones, laptops. Senior high, we let them use their phones for it. They think it's great. So
yeah, this is a big fan favorite in our schools this year, definitely K-12, and just the missions come up for them in Goose Chase, and they either have to take a picture, they could take a video, they could submit a text evidence, and some of them are also GPS based. We're in a very rural district, so we don't use the GPS one where we are, but we've used all of the other tools. And so these are just some quick examples in elementary math class. I literally just had problems hanging around the room, and they solved it on the whiteboard and submitted their picture. So Kalina used it at a back to school night where the students completed a Goose Chase with their parents. These are some 7th graders who were new to the building and had to kind of tour the building with their parents. So it's super engaging, and in every context that we've used it, our kids have loved it.
Right. Survival guide for engagement, Breakout EDU Digital. So breakout boxes are a big thing now in the tech world, or maybe you guys have seen the digital version. The kits are awesome too, but in this, we're going to take a look at the digital, and this is hyperlinked if you want to go to the Breakout EDU website. It's basically, if you don't know what Breakout EDU is, it's basically an escape room for the classroom. That's the concept, except you're kind of, with the digital, you're unlocking all the locks and solving clues within your content area to escape, to break out. And definitely challenging for students to work collaboratively. They get very frustrated, which is great because it's critical thinking and collaboration, teaching them some grit when they can't, you know, break into these locks. It's good for them. And just critical thinking, problem solving, and it encourages the growth mindset. Like, oh, we got it wrong, but you know, we didn't fail. We got to go back and try again. Unfortunately, there are some free ones and they are great, but we as a district have the paid subscription that we use district-wide, and it's worth it. Teachers use it a lot.
The reason we love digital is because we both love doing breakouts and we do them a lot with our teachers, but it's a lot of time, you know, to print it, to set it up, to hide the clues, to set the locks, to lock the box. And it's great to do that, and we love that part too. But breakout digital, you can just assign it to your students, and then they open up the mission, and like everything is digital. They're navigating the clues that way, and you'll see some printed copies because you can also just enlarge the clue and print it for a physical copy if you want to give them that, but you don't need to print a thing with Breakout EDU digital.
You can hop on and have them do, and they have fun ones at Christmas time and seasonal ones and things for just teamwork. So that they're actually working on the kit. I think that's the digital one that we have to print some stuff for, but
and then that's the big classboard. Okay, so our next pairing for our survival guide for engagement is Pear Deck versus Nearpod, which both have been around for a little while, and I know there's been sessions about these tools throughout this conference, but they are taking your traditional style of teaching and giving the presentation right to your students so they can follow along with you, so they can engage in the lesson as you're going through and interact with it. So I'm going to start with Nearpod. Think about your typical slideshow that you just put into Nearpod, and then you can embed questions as you're going. One of the things I loved about it when I was a 4th grade teacher is I could share that lesson with other 4th grade teachers on my team, and they could use it the way I shared it. They could edit it in whatever way worked for them. But it's really great, really easy to create, share, and customize your lessons. If you are a Google fan and you make everything in Google Slides, there's a Nearpod Eyes extension, and it just will take all of your Google Slides and put them right in Nearpod, so that's super easy. And there's tons of features that you won't use all of them in every single lesson, so it can be different every time. So Nearpod's a tool that we use a lot, but you can change it up every time you use it. And I put it's like freemium because you can get a lot of it with the free Nearpod account, but there are some that's for the gold members to access some of the features. So this is what Nearpod looks like on a teacher end, where I'm like logging into my account down here, and these are all my lessons. And then this was just a Google slideshow that I inserted the tools that I wanted to do without. What I love elementary land about Nearpod is you control the pace of the lesson so the kids can't get ahead of you. But you also have the ability to create it as like homework, and they could do it in a learning center if you don't want to run it whole classroom. So Nearpod puts the presentation right in front of them, right in their hands, and then they can interact with you in multiple different ways.
Next, we paired Nearpod with Pear Deck. We feel that they are very similar. Pear Deck talks with Google also, so if you have the Google Slides, you can just work with Pear Deck to insert the little collaborative activities throughout. It can also be teacher-paced, so that's great because when kiddos are looking at their laptops or their iPads, you're controlling what they're looking at, or you can make it student-paced also to have them work at their own level. Add questions to your slides. You can be like, highlight the topic sentence and underline the 3 details, or they could use the scratch pad to solve math problems, things like that. So Pear Deck is a really good option as well. And like I said, it's great with Google Slides.
Okay, our next set of tools are kind of game-based and interactive games that you would do within your classroom. So we're going to talk about GimKit versus Quizlet Live. So GimKit is like a Kahoot or a Quizzes. A couple of those have been out there for a while, where it's a game that you play all at once with your class. You're playing live. It is designed for multiple choice questions. The students see a question, they have to choose the right answer. And what I put down at the bottom is that there's the twist, the game within the game is that every time a student gets a question right, they earn money within GimKit, and then they can buy that money to do things to help them within the game. So either power up their own score, they can do things that hurt other people in the game, and you can control that on and off as well. There's tons of them that are already out there and set up that teachers have made that you can just add to your kits, but it also is easy to create your own. And GimKit also I put on there is freemium, because with a free account you can make 5 kits, up to 5 kits, but you can add like hundreds of questions within your kit. And so my advice is to make your free kits on things that you want to use multiple times, that you want to be practicing with your kids multiple times, and then beyond that, you can either buy it like 1 month at a time or a school year, but it really is worth it. We have paid Gim kits and
we use them a lot. And it's also one that's great for high school. I mean, like, the kids love it, and Kit Collab is a part of it, and on that, you can literally just throw a Gim kit up there and be like, okay, you read this passage, I want each group to create 2 multiple choice questions from this passage, and they create the questions right then and there. You either accept or reject, and then they can play with the questions that they created, so you're having the kids do the work.
So if
awesome.
you want to get distinguished in the questioning category,
Yeah.
use this, because your kids literally make the questions and then they play the game that they just created, and it's pretty cool. So really you don't have to do much of anything other than set up an account and put it up there and play. There's tons of different game styles within the game, so you can have them grouped as a team. You can set it for, I want them to play for this long, or I want the person that earns this amount of money first, that's when the game ends. And they're constantly putting in new features in and out, so it's different every time you play.
Like right now, it's humans versus zombies.
Humans versus zombies is one of the features right now.
And then Quizlet Live. A lot of people already know about Quizlet. It's amazing. Quizlet Live is great for collaborative review. Once again, vocabulary lists and terms, multiple choice questions, things like that. And with the live version, they are getting up, walking around, working as a team, and it's just something a little bit different. So if you have never tried Quizlet Live, you should definitely try it. It's completely free, and you can play multiple times. Yeah, there's some examples of what it looks like, see who's winning, and then that would be like what your kids' screens look like. They see who's on their team, and it's a pretty nice way to have them collaborate while moving around in the classroom, but still getting a good review.
One of the reasons we love this is because they physically have to talk to each other. If you're on a team with someone, you all have different answers within the set, and so maybe the question came up and I know the answer to it, but that's not one of my choices, and I have to talk to Clean and be like, oh, the answer is 12, you have it. So you're really discussing as a team, and then it's like a race. The first team with 12 questions right wins. If you get 10 questions right and the 11th one wrong, you're back to the beginning. So there is that. You don't want to just click to get through it, and if you reset your whole team, then you start over. So that one's really fun, really engaging. We like to play it multiple times because these ones go fast. And Quizlet, again, you can find tons of things already out there on the site that you can change to meet your needs however you want.
We will give you guys a chance to pause.
We will. I know we're going fast. You're probably like, this is supposed to be a survival guide, and you guys are, so I think this is our final pairing and engagement, and then we'll take a pause. Flipgrid and Padlet are both tools that give your students a voice to share their thoughts in a lesson, and so we'll talk about them specifically. Flipgrid gives your students a voice through video submissions where they are recording themselves, like selfie style, like a vlog. So that's really popular right now, just like vlogging and being like YouTube famous. So the kids love this tool because they can submit their prompts, and then when they submit their answers, it goes to the grid, and then they can see each other's faces and watch each other's videos. So when I use this tool in elementary land, it's meant to be short and sweet. They're really explaining their thinking, and what I found is I love using it in math specifically because we struggle with our students explaining like how they got the answer, and they're much more willing to talk about what they did as opposed to writing.
Flipgrid generates a code for you, and you can literally put the code right on your Google Classroom or whatever platform you're using. Kids click on it and it takes them right there. And Padlet. We're going to actually have you guys do a Padlet. But if you've never seen Padlet before, Padlet is great because it gives every student a voice, yet it allows them to see what other kids are doing in case they might need some help. It's basically one big collaborative bulletin board. And students can submit entries. It's great for a summarization strategy before, during, and after lessons. You could save them and keep adding, or you can definitely clear all the posts between classes and start over. So that is Padlet.com, and it's completely free. There are some examples. That's what your teacher board would look like, and then these are some student responses.
Okay, so we're gonna pause for a second because I know we like bam, bam, bam with all of the tools. So a process that really works for us when we're learning about all new things is to really reflect like which one of these things am I so excited about when I go to my school on tomorrow or Thursday. Do I need to try? So which one are you really want to go with and start tomorrow? Which one maybe will you come back to later this year, or maybe like in the future next year when I have time to sit down and work on it a little bit more. So we have a Padlet that we're going to come back to a couple of times. We're going to give you maybe 2 or 3 minutes to get logged on and to have that digital conversation. And feel free, if you're with people here together, turn and talk to them about what you might want to try. And even if not, go ahead and talk to somebody next to you if you want to. But we'll go for 3 minutes reflecting on engagement, and then we'll move on to zone 2.
So that's your Padlet. If you have problems with it, just let us know.
I see a couple questions on there that before we move on I'm going to answer. Somebody asked which tools are most popular with our teachers, and for sure both of us said Goose Chase is really hot right now. People like the idea. It's completely controlled by you making the missions and getting your kids up and moving around. And then also a favorite tool that I'm seeing with my elementary folks is GimKit. They're really loving it. The kids are loving it too, just adding another kind of gamified element to their classroom. And then Kalina said at high school, Flipgrid, right?
Right, yeah. Teachers are loving Flipgrid. Students all know how to use it, so it's great. Somebody said they're excited to try GimKit. Is it like Kahoot? It is seriously like Kahoot on steroids. It is awesome.
The main difference is that you have, like, when you play Kahoot, you know, everybody has to be looking at the board and you do it one question at a time and reflect. GimKit is not like that. GimKit, you make a kit and it just keeps filtering through the questions in random order until either the time frame that you set is up. But it does look like the kids have a question and 4 color blocks and the answers are within it. So it's pretty easy even for the little ones to figure out like where they have to touch to submit the answers. We good? Yeah. Okay. All right, our next zone is going to be organization, and these are tools that we like to use as teachers and educators to keep ourselves more organized. So this meme says, don't you get it? If I make my classroom super cute and organized, then the rest of the year will go smoothly. Yeah, right. Okay. But the official organization definition, to arrange into a structured whole, but a teacher, how can I not be a hot mess? And that sentence was written by me because that's how I identify. All right, so we're going to compare Google Classroom and shared Google Drives as organizational tools.
So for those of you who have never used Google Classroom before, it's fantastic. If you use Google Suite at all in education, it streamlines the whole process of teaching and learning, adding everything to the students' Drive, Google Drive for them. So Google Classroom is a must-have. If you need help with organization, Google Classroom is, we believe, the way to go. We love it. Everything the students need all in one place, easy to share, whatever you need. Any subject area, doesn't matter. Google Classroom is great. It's also great for collaboration with co-teachers, or if you have a paraeducator in your class, you can add them as a co-teacher on Classroom. And we add our special education teachers to our classrooms, and then they have access to everything that their learning support students have. So it's all there for them, and they can see all the assignments. That's an example of a Google Classroom that I have right now.
So when we're thinking about organization, and if you have the G Suite, your school participates in that. Shared Drive is a really great one when it comes to collaboration and teamwork, because everybody has access. There isn't one owner of a document, which could maybe be a good thing or a bad thing. And anything that anybody adds stays. So if somebody leaves your district, everyone else still has access to it. And if you have a Google Drive, then it's just literally called Shared Drives right there, and this is a picture of mine, so you can see, like this one, 39 people have access to, 2 people, 22 people. So it's really just taking the ownership of any document that you want to collaborate on and putting it so that everybody has access and control over it. Our next pairing for organization is QR code generator versus Screencastify. So we paired these together as getting information to your students in an efficient way.
QR code generator is an extension that you can add, and having it as an extension is super easy because anytime you are on a website, you click on it and it generates the QR code for you, right? Like right here, there's your extension. And then
so when you click it, like it pops up, and so this could save printing time. You don't have to print and hang a QR code, or if you forgot. But you do also have the ability to save it, download it, and print it if you want as well. But any website immediately, you don't have to cut and paste into another QR creating website. It's just right there.
High school students like the QR codes because anytime they can use their phones, they're super excited to do that, so they could just scan them on their phones and give you quick feedback. Like you could create a Padlet and then use your Google extension QR code generator to generate a QR code and hang it up, and then they post on their Padlet on their phone, quick and easy. So definitely a good extension to get if you don't have the QR code generator. There it is.
And then Screencastify is another extension that would hang out at the top of your Chrome browser, where you use it to record your screen. So you're making videos that record your computer screen and your voice. It's great for explaining directions, to show examples of work that you might want, to give a tutorial for either students or teachers of logging on to a website and what they might need to do. And then what we like about this is it's a saved version of yourself, so you don't have to repeat the same thing multiple times. You can just share that resource in whatever way you want, and then you can put them right on Google Classroom, make them a QR code. It saves as a folder in your Google Drive. When you touch the extension, you can say what you want it to record, and then it's literally just recording your screen as you click through, and it saves all of your videos in one folder.
It's really good if you know you're going to be out also.
Yeah, it's like
you know
the
you're not going to be in
digital
school the next day and you're like, oh, I can't have the sub teach this.
Yep.
Make a video and then kids can watch it. There's no excuse.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Did you want to say anything? Okay. So that section was much shorter, but we want you to do the similar thing. It's the same Padlet. It's the same thing you're already logged into. Is thinking about organization, which one do you think would make the most sense for you to try? Or if you're already using them, what do you love about one of those tools? Share your expertise as well. We'll give you a couple more minutes while we're looking through, because there are some other good questions popping up on the Padlet.
Same Padlet. If you already have it. If you guys could finish up what you're typing, we'll move on to our third.
There's so much on there, and it's really great. There's two questions that I want to address. One of them was somebody said their school doesn't use that their school doesn't have G Suite, and how do they even start? And our answer to that is, you know, we don't get paid enough to have those decisions in our district, but we have a director of technology, and just advocating for maybe the need of what the benefits could be moving towards that. It doesn't hurt to have a conversation. I wish we could super easy solve that problem for you, but really talking to the people that do make those decisions and getting your voice in there as what you might see a need. And I already forget what the other question is. Screencastify versus Screencast-O-Matic. The reason I use Screencastify, I like how it saves in my Google Drive, and somebody asked if there's a limit. There's a like once you reach a certain time limit that you've created a number of videos, you can pay for the free subscription, but I just download the videos that I create and then delete them off of my Screencastify amount so that I still have them, but they're not saved within there.
Okay, our next section is the struggle is assessments. Brace yourself, assessments are coming. Assessments, by definition, wide variety of methods or tools educators use to evaluate the readiness and the needs of our students. Teacher definition, do they get it? Are they getting it? In assessments, we would like to compare Google Forms with ZipGrade. So Google Forms, once again, part of G Suite, they are fantastic for formative and summative assessments. Once you create them, you can clear responses and use them over and over again. So if you're creating a chapters 1 through 5 quiz or a little geometry check-in, whatever, you can clear responses and use it again. They're easy to change within Google, and they're great for teachers to get data and transfer it to your grade book in a quick manner, side-by-side, split screen it, and go down through your grade book. Everything you can export to a spreadsheet, and you can organize however you'd like if you just need some formative data. For example, right here, there's your spreadsheet, there's a quiz for Google Forms. So nice, easy, yeah, it's a pain to create them, but once they're created, they're there for you to use, which is nice.
So if you don't have the time or energy to recreate everything and type it all up, ZipGrade is one of our favorite tools. If you have a bunch of printed assessments, you get on ZipGrade, make an account, and you print out their own bubble sheets, and that's what your kids bubble in. And then on the ZipGrade app, I'll toggle back and forth, you would choose which ones are right or wrong, and then when they bring you their bubble sheet, you scan it with your phone, and boom, there's their grade, okay? There are options within ZipGrade that if they answered A or B, you could give them a point. Or if they have a open-ended at the end, and you read it and score it, and you could say like question number 27 could be either worth 4, 3, 2, or 1 points. You bubble in the bubble for however many points you're giving. So there are those options on there, but saving you time as a teacher, this is one of the top tools. It gives great data. It's free. You get 100 scans a month, but if you want unlimited scans, it's $7 for a year. So it's it's pretty worth it. If this is something that you see yourself using, I know when I taught 4th grade, we gave dreaded district assessments multiple times a year, and it was just like boom, boom, boom. It made my life so much easier. So you, like I said, when you log on, you print their actual bubble sheets, and that's what your kids are bubbling in.
Another survival guide tool for assessments, we're going to compare Plickers to Mentimeter. So Plickers is wonderful to use as a quick formative excuse me, assessment in the classroom. We use it to review for PSSAs and keystones. So for example, one thing you could do is you could hand out a passage from the Keystone, a sample passage from the Keystone or the PSSA, and you can set up a folder in your Plickers library with all 10 questions, sample questions from that Keystone passage. And then students, they come up on your big board, and students have these, they look like those little puzzle pieces, and they say A, B, C, D, and they just hold that puzzle. If the answer to the question is A, they hold it with the A, and you take your phone and scan it, iPad too, right? Mm-hmm. And scan it, and the data pops up green or red, awesome, instant data. Students like it because those passages and those sample sets can be super tedious and boring, but to do a little bit of quick test prep, Plickers makes it fun and easy. And it's a quick scan, and you can review the correct answers and move on. Once you create them, they're there for you in your library.
And we like this one too because your kids don't need the tech, they just get the Plicker, and you can use it for anything. It's really great too to give your kids voice if you're like voting on something within your classroom, because the letters on the Plicker are so small. Even if we're sitting right next to each other, and this works when you're want them to answer content questions too. I can't tell if she has A or B, like maybe somebody could if you write it on a whiteboard and hold it up. So you can't tell what other people are answering, and everyone's little QR clicker thing looks different. And you can have them registered to students in your class, so if you keep the same kids all day, they work really well if you print them on cardstock. If you laminate them, the light sometimes like makes it hard to scan, so cardstock is a really great way to go. When I taught 4th grade, each kid had their clicker in their desk that was tied to their name, but if you have multiple classes of kids, they're just numbered 1 through whatever, and they can have them randomly as well. And then Mentimeter is a great in the moment interactive assessments. With Mentimeter, the people who log in are anonymous, so it's not tied to their name. So you can get a true understanding without kind of the pressure of, am I going to get it wrong? It's super easy for you to set up with any content area. The freebie version allows you to create, I think, 2 questions within your like little Mentimeter presentation. So it's not like Nearpod where you could have as many as you want, as often as you want. I like to use Mentimeter for like your maybe show what you know, and then a 1 in the middle, and then a ticket out the door. So I think you get 2 free to start, but if you send an email to a buddy like, hey, try Mentimeter, then you get a 3rd one for every presentation. So just share it with all your people. And then there's multiple different question types that you can ask. So, ranking something from the most, there's lots of multiple choice. This one is like a sliding scale, like do I agree or disagree? This one is a word cloud tool, and there's many, many more options in there as well with different question types that you can create.
Okay, so now to reflect on, I should say, assessment. To reflect on assessment, go ahead to that same Padlet and just reflect on a couple different things that we showed you. Maybe you think zip grade might be cool to try. Maybe Mentimeter is something you want to try.
And I love how a lot of you are writing your own like little anecdotes in there of things that you've used and tried. So obviously physically talk to people around you if that's something that you want to do, and also see what else is in there. So we'll give you a couple minutes to do that. Go ahead. Okay, so our 3 zones of our presentation are over. I know we went through them very quickly, but really we put the links in there for you to kind of click and explore. But most importantly, in the ed tech world, you don't need to use every tool. No matter how great something sounds, find the ones that will truly work for you and your staff and your students that are gonna make technology in your classroom meaningful. We tried to pick tools that were, age ability, grade level wise, content area could be used for anything, and that's kind of our goal as instructional technology coaches, is just to find a few and get good at them and use the ones that you think will work best for you. So our official presentation is, we're not gonna speak anymore, but if you have questions, please either put them in the Padlet or you can come up and talk a little bit more with us. Feel free to stay and talk to each other or explore any of the tools, or if you're ready to stretch your legs, that's fine as well. So we wanna thank you so much for coming today. This is a pretty good group, and we appreciate you being here.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So why don't,
I think they stay there for a while, but I always forget.
and then, for the presentation. And then, is that fine?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, leave that, and then I'll.
You have to turn the water up. There's a question? Your question. Oh, I see you. Hi. Go ahead. Go ahead. Can you scooch over? Oh, actually, I think
Yeah. Yeah. Is that what you are, or is it? Oh, cool.
Hey, thanks for coming out.
Yes.
Enjoy the rest of your day.
Thank you. It's perfect. They said the best physical places. I don't think we have anybody in our district that uses all of these except us, right? So it's like you like kind of sprinkle it out, and they find the things that they like. Yeah, there's a lot out there that are very versatile.
No precision.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah.
It's exciting.
I'm gonna do it, but I'm following yourself.
Oh, awesome. Perfect. Looking forward to it. Thank you. Thank you for coming.
Hi,
you have a question?
Yeah, that was great. Liked a lot of those resources. Do you know if like clickers or InKit or things like that have math type? Because that's usually the limiting factor for me as a math teacher is the ones that I can use that allow using the formulas and the formatting.
That you would want to input.
Either to type in or integrate into there somehow so that it's not just writing out in words.
Yeah. So yeah. So just simply how to get around that with input is if you can't type a formula with the extra. Do you mean like the exponents or whatever?
Yeah.
So what you can do is every question or answer can come up as an image, and so if you have it somewhere, just like screen grab it as an image and insert it that way instead of trying to figure out how to type it.
Right.
And I don't know. I'm not saying that there aren't options, but for me personally, that's just where I always use it.
Okay.
So make it look how I want it, and even if I'm handwriting it,
Yeah.
I'll use that picture as a question or whatever. And then for clickers, it's really just all they have on the clicker is A, B, C, D, right? And whatever you have within your presentation can, like whatever you're presenting with, can look however you want it to look, and they're just answering A, B, C, or D. So like the answer choices are not wouldn't look any different than just A, B, C, or D, and then you would have the choices typed up here or on a whatever, but they would see that.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
It does, yeah.
Okay.
All right, great, thanks.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Thank you for sharing.
Okay. You have a question?
Absolutely. Have a great rest of your day.
Yeah, you too.
Hi.
I don't know if you know, like, obviously I'm trying to figure out, but, this in hair decks.
I think so. I think that you could take that link. I've never done it, but I don't know. It should, 100%.
It should be a safe, safe.
Yeah.
Cause I do both, hair deck and earbud, I've been flying.
Yes, what do you like about it?
Yeah, thank you.
That's what I'm trying to decide.
Is there anything
So,
else that you
I
want?
like,
More?
do you?
do.
I don't, and I think I like Pear Deck better. Well, the two things I like about Nearpod though is I like the bulletin board option, which you don't have in Pear Deck, but if I can embed the Padlet,
That
Pear
solves
Deck,
it.
that solves that problem. The other one is the climb, what do you, time to
It's
climb.
when you are ready to
Which
try one.
I've got
Right?
super, I have
So
super
in our
competitive
presentation, when we got
Yeah,
to the
well, I haven't
one
tried it with them because I
that
haven't
was
had
like,
an option.
like the tool
I'm
and
sort of
then
walking in and
details
going,
about
"Today
how
we're trying
to use
something
it,
new. Tell me if
like
you
the
like
link
it or
that
not."
we
So
put on
I'm like,
there
"Today we're
will
doing
take you
Nearpod.
to the
Today we're
actual
doing Nearpod. We can come
website
up with your help.
of that
Pear
tool,
Deck.
so you
can
can
tell me
sign
what
up for an account, or you can like create
So-
questions.
about it, right?
So we
Find out what
made
they
sure
like.
to
There you
do
go. One sort
that,
of
because I
the
know we were gonna go through it quickly, so that you also don't forget what we even talked about and you can go back and find it. Does that make sense?
sophomore, some of them maybe
Oh,
some
it's okay.
Yeah, I mean, even we're block scheduling in the basement, so even if it can be a dose for one block, we can do 10 more for all the blocks, we should just do it part-time. I can make it work. Yeah, it's just so frustrating, 'cause I'm like, I learned all these fun things, come see me. I'm trying. Being here and presenting here, I think, gives me a little bit of like, when I get back, I'm gonna be like, here's my presentation, and here's all the sessions that I went to. What do you guys think? Great. Yeah, and oh, by the way, I'm certified in these 17 things that I would like, here's, we're in a contract negotiation, and I'm like, well, we might do a supplemental for a technology coach at the elementary level. I'm like, how's that gonna work? Because supplemental is supposed to be outside of school time. And we're one-to-one with Chromebooks at the high school. Basically, they're like, here, we gave one to the kids, so here. And they're either digital paper or fancy paperweights for a lot of my teachers. It's just so frustrating. And then there's such great tools. There's people who want to share, there's tools, I mean, everything. By the way, yeah, great presentation.
Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate it. Yeah, I see no reason why. It's just a link and it's right there.
Yeah.
So that shareable link with
And they don't have, yeah, they don't
You
have
don't
to log in.
Nope, you just literally click it. It's the background.
So now I just have to solve the time to climb problem.
Yes. Time to climb.
Time to climb. Hair Deck needs a time to, I know, I'm always like this little happy pick. People always pick the outer space. I'm like this little outer space pick.
I love it.
There you go. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Enjoy the rest of your
You
day.
too.
Enjoy. I think this is my favorite. Is there new things to play with? New things.
Oh, good. Thank you.
They'll be there forever. The Bitly, because it's so when I have a Bitly account and we take, just a URL shortener. And so I created it, so that link will work. It's there forever.
Oh, thank you.
I don't have to do things. I use a couple of those.
Yeah, it's just so time consuming. It is, and
So if you.
I know, putting vocabulary terms on all these review games and like, I know, I teach on computers, so.
Yeah, so the whole point of that is
So it's
to
just trying to introduce them
share
and then getting them out to the teachers.
Yeah,
Absolutely. Thank you.
I don't know, like the number of questions that you ask or the number that you have. I don't think so. So I can't respond to questions online.
Do teachers have support?
No love for the math teachers, they said. It's good
think that might have been what he came up and asked me. And but what I said about clickers is that what? No watermark.
What's Cody called? Technology.
Yeah, no.
Redress somebody's up.
Yes.
Hey, can they put a screencast of that link in here? Probably have students with it. Absolutely. You can embed that link. Students can watch it over and over. You're awesome.
Like blah 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 blah, like that's how I felt like I sounded.
Okay. Alright, let's get out of here, girl. Can't believe it.
Friend, my friend who's also a teacher on my Jerry books post, because first I said seriously excited for the kid teacher, and like I'm like Michelle, oh they're jealous, I'm jealous. Like, I'm part of this organization. Like I never even knew about this. You know, like now, it's amazing.
Okay, that was
We
fun.
did it, girl.
I mean, that was fun.
Yeah.
There's no pressure because like they are just here because they want to be here.
Yeah.
It's not my staff at the school that I'm presenting to who is criticizing you, who I believe are, I
Right,
think
and
are
I'm just
smart
gonna tell
over
you
my
all
head.
the reasons of why
Yeah.
it doesn't work.
Yep. And then
Oh, wait,
Federico's
and a black
screaming.
sweater. Oh, I think it's in here.
Then Federico going,
I can't keep up with that.
like,
I know.
like just rudeness. There is
And I
none of
tried
that.
to address that too. We're gonna go fast. We're gonna.
But then we're gonna have some fun.
Yes. And we'll have some good questions. I basically designed the kind of presentation that I would want to go to. You know, like that's what I try to design. You know, like,
all streaming, or did we do it all presenter? Let me just check which one. 304.
Do you have the number for, whatchamacallit? So this is red, what is red? Red means no network connection, and we have this, hold on. Let me just try to connect to presenter. Oh, it's on this side. So here, oh, man, I can't connect to it. Let me get my Bluetooth on.